This episode is supported by our fantastic patrons. Your continued generosity helps us to continue making videos just like this one. So, thank you. Enter to find wealth, security, and eternal life, for just a small price up front. Welcome back to another episode of Best in the Multiverse, brought to you by Affinity for Commander. Today we're breaking down what we believe are the top 5 commanders in white and black. As always, these lists are derived from my personal list of criteria, and no partner commanders will be included. That being said, I do want to give an honourable mention to 2 particular commanders, Karlov the Unredeemed and Ragnar the Redeemer. I love honestly how well they interact together, with Karlov's life gain triggering Ragnar's ability, not to mention the card draw. Honestly, I do love them. But they're still partner commanders, and we can't just forsake the rules that have been set, otherwise we're no better than the dirty Phyrexians. I see you over there, Elendor. So, without further ado, on to the list. Number 5. A card I honestly find hilarious every time I see it. Selenia, Dark Angel. Selenia is a 3/3 flying legendary angel for 3 generic, 1 black and 1 white mana with pay 2 life, return Selenia Dark Angel to its owner's hand. Now, at first glance, this angel is absolutely nothing to write home about. She fails the vanilla test, is boltable, and certainly doesn't threaten our opponents in any obvious way. But this is Commander, and otherwise unplayable cards make it possible to mess with not just your life total, but other players as well. By stacking her ability multiple times, you can manipulate your life total to fit all manner of situations. Like putting yourself stupidly low only to swap your life total with an opponent's, using cards like Axis of Mortality, Reverse the Sands, or Magus of the Mirror. But why limit yourself to upsetting just one opponent? Playing cards like Repay in Kind to lower everyone's life total ensures that the game is going to end soon, hopefully with you as the victor. But honestly, what would a life-centered deck be if your life total didn't change more times than Liliana's Allegiance? Cards like Debt to the Deathless, Exsanguinate, Children of Kolios, and a personal favourite of mine, Tainted Sigil, all help bolster our life total while shrinking our opponents. Or, if you just want the person keeping track of your life totals to really hate you, have the spiciest of win conditions, Tristadectophobia. Because, why not? However, this strategy is rather straightforward and can be stopped in its tracks rather easily. Fun, but fragile. Like a majestic bubble in the wind, made of horrific life loss and janky spells. Number 4. Moving to the opposite end of the spectrum, instead of losing life, our next commander is all about life gain. Karlov of the Ghost Council. For 1 white and 1 black, Karlov of the Ghost Council is a 2/2 legendary creature spirit advisor. He reads, whenever you gain life, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Karlov of the Ghost Council, and for 1 white and 1 black, remove 6 +1/+1 counters from Karlov of the Ghost Council, exile target creature. And you thought your life gain was strong? Those are rookie numbers. You've got to pump those numbers up, because Karlov needs all the life gain he can get. This comes in the form of Authority of the Console, Soul Warden, Soul's Attendant, Nyx's Ram, Pristine Talisman, Airwalk Champion, Death Greeter, oh Urza, why have I done this to myself? A Johnny's Welcome, Righteous Cause, Campaign of the Vengeance, or Polluted Bonds, or pretty much anything with life gain in it. Oh, and all the Sorens, of course, naturally. Rather importantly though, Karlov needs multiple instances of life gain, rather than gaining a huge amount of life in one go. That's why cards such as Soul Warden or Soul's Attendant are a lot more useful in this deck than cards like Heroes Remembered. With a Soul Warden out, even if all 3 of your opponents only play 1 creature each, you'll get 3 triggers of Karlov, making him an 8/8 with a removal ability as early as turn 2. Not bad really. This package of outrageous life gain opens up avenues to victories, using cards such as Felidar Sovereign, Resplendent Angel, Defiant Bloodlord, or Sanguine Bond. I'm sure there are others I'm missing out, but there are so many possibilities to drain your opponents while you grow fat on their life totals. Oh, and Aetherflux Reservoir. as if you need me to tell you that the reservoir is good in the life gain deck. Additionally, Karlov has the potential to one-hit KO your opponent with commander damage, so make sure to pack a Whisper Silk Cloak and Prowler's Helm. So, in summary, outrageous gorging on life for you, lower life totals for your opponents with a big threatening commander. All fantastic, and very Orzhov. Number 3. Elendor the Dusk Rose. For 2 generic 1 white and 1 black, Elendor is a 1/1 legendary creature vampire knight with lifelink. She reads, whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Elendor the Dusk Rose. And when Elendor dies, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is Elendor's power. Now, initially I was hesitant, as I imagine most people were, to think of Elendor as a commander. Her ability to generate creatures only works when she dies, and letting your commander go to the graveyard sounds often as good an idea as joining forces with an evil elder dragon who kills planeswalkers. Seriously, Domri, what did you expect was going to happen? But the value you get from letting her die is often more than absolutely worth it. Even with the smallest of setups, the initial spawning of creatures can propel you to victory. Cathar's Crusade makes your 1/1s into big boys, Anointed Procession allows you to double the tokens you'd produce, and Divine Visitation, because the last time I checked how maths works, 4/4s are bigger than 1/1s. But even without an army of angels, once those tokens hit the board, the fun really starts. Captivating Vampire and New Blood can be used to steal your opponent's best creatures, or benefit from good old tribal synergies with Legion Lieutenant, Sanctum Seeker and Bloodline Keeper. Delightful. But in order to do this over and over again, we need to be able to grab our commander back from the graveyard, which isn't all that difficult. We are in Orzhov colours after all. Whisper, Blood Liturgist, Victimize, and even Unburial Rites will do in a pinch, just to name a few. Surrounding this token-full vampire strategy, we do need a brush of good old Orzhov aristocrats in the form of Visarasia, Yeheni Undying Partisan, and even Merciless Executioner, to not only make sure those counters keep going on to Elendor, but also to make sure that at the opportune time we can sacrifice her ourselves to quickly put our vampire army into play. And it really is those counters that sealed the deal for me with Elendor at this spot. Because not only can she be one of the strongest aristocrat commanders, but she can also offer something else few can, the alternative wing condition of commander damage. Now, no, she doesn't have any evasion, but honestly she shouldn't need it. If our opponents have enough creatures on board to block, then we aren't making them sacrifice enough stuff. Number 2. Yes, alright, fine, here he is, Athreos, god of the flipping passage. He's good, he's fine, he does the job. Alright, I'll calm down. Athreos is a 5/4 legendary creature enchantment god for 1 generic, 1 black and 1 white. He is indestructible and reads, as long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. On a quick glance, this god is seemingly just annoying, constantly bolting an opponent for not letting you put that creature back to your hand and all. This seems terrible for 2 reasons. 1, you're bolting someone who starts at 40 life, and 2, you're having to let one of your creatures die, not typically something you want to happen. But rando mythics from Theros do not spike to $30 just because of their lovely artwork. So, what gives? Athreos as a commander can just be a super irritating recursion commander, and recursion as a strategy is already annoying enough. Those decks typically are very hard to put down with constant threats, but having someone's life total slowly whittled down is also just plain irritating. Those other players aren't going to be helping either, hitting each other until one person just can't afford to pay the life, and the value train starts chugging. And what about those decks that you really want to have creatures dying in? I'm looking at you, Shadowborn Apostles. Yes, all 38 of you. This is probably the most well-known playstyle of Athreos, in no small part thanks to Josh Lee Quai of the Command Zone. Coupling this annoying combo with the usual aristocrat's goodness of Dictative Erebos, Grave Pact, Blood Artist, and Grim Harspects, and Athreos shapes up to be one frustrating to beat commander, as you can't even amass a big enough board to actually start killing the person playing him. Oh, and Athreos is also an indestructible enchantment most of the time, so good luck getting rid of that. So, in summary, he's annoying, hard to remove, and probably the best death by 1,000 cuts commander. Definitely in Orzhov at least. However, to me, Athreos doesn't embody the real value and power of the Orzhov. That honor goes to number 1. She's a low mana cost creature with versatility, relevant abilities, and has just had some gosh darn beautiful new artwork to boot. Tasha, Orzhov Scion. For 1 generic, 1 black, and 1 white, Tasha is a 2/3 legendary creature human advisor with sacrifice 3 white creatures, exile target creature, and whenever another black creature you control dies, create a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying. The first thing I love about Tasha is the flavor of how Orzhov she is. Not even in death is your creature's work done, and she will absolutely use other creatures to get rid of a problem. But the main reason Tasha ranks at the top of this list is her ability to stretch across the power levels of Commander. She can just be a really good Orzhov sacrifice commander, running cards like Imperious Oligarch or Orzhov Enforcer for sweet afterlife value, or even the always on point Plague Crafter or Fleshmark Marauder, helping to shred your opponent's board while you build up an army of 1/1s, ready to snipe anything that looks at you funny. Then, pushing into more focused builds with more sacrifice goodness, Razaketh the Foul-Blooded Dictative Erebos and Pitiless Plunderer can be used to amass more value than the Orzhov vaults can hold. And then the good old 2-mana boys of Blood Artist and Zulaport Cutthroat can easily end the game. And then, further up the scale, we can even have lovely little end-game combos with Tasha and her old friend Darkest Hour. Yes, indeed, it turns out altering fundamental rules around colour identity is actually really powerful. Coupling these 2 cards with stuff like Ashnod's Altar can generate infinite mana for something as pedestrian as Exsanguinate or Torment of Hellfire if that's your jam. Or alternatively, if you're in a rush because an affectionate dog has just walked into the shop and is begging for tummy rubs or something, then Blasting Station is here for you with an easy no-nonsense 3-card combo win. Now, Tasha does tend to run exceptionally low to the ground with creatures, and definitely has a lot more poke damage than world-ending alpha swings. However, because of this we can get away with running cards like Dusk and Retribution of the Meek, where we'll happily sit on our army of tokens and clear the board of huge creatures. Personally, the idea of one-sided board wipes always ranks highly among some of the most powerful things you can do in EDH. It's just that most of the time they are stupidly high mana cost. Yes, I am looking at you in Garrick's wake. Overall, I find Tasha to be just what I like when looking for good commanders. A versatility of win conditions with various combos, a low mana cost, and high value interactions with loads of cards. Having spot removal acts as a dash of lovely cinnamon on the Orzhov trifle of pain, sacrifice, and taxes. Delicious. And that poorly worded food analogy is the reason why Tasha Orzhov Scion is my top pick for the best Orzhov commander. And that's our list, but what did you think? Do you think the Orzhov Scion should have placed lower, or that one of her other iterations is better? Whatever your thoughts, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to show us that you like this type of content, and remember that you can follow us on Twitter @4commander. And if you really like us, you could consider becoming a patron of the channel. Links are in the description. And as always, we will see you next time.